Well, good morning and good afternoon, everyone who is joining us for our June 2020 One Heart, One Earth Global Healing Summit. My name is Lisa M. Gunshore, and I am your host and the host of the Buddhist Biohacker channel, which you are on right now. And for all of you who are joining into the live, welcome in. You can absolutely share your comments, ask your questions in the live chat box right on the side of your feed. And I will be moderating that throughout the presentation. So you can use that. And if you are watching the replay, you can comment right here on the YouTube video. You can also join our MeWe forum. Our MeWe moderator, Cheryl Garcia, will be posting up links on every video so that you know how to find us on MeWe and continue the discussion there, which is really exciting. And our summit this month is focused on creating a sustainable future. We have over 40 hours of presentations in the next week, which is absolutely phenomenal. We've already had 2 beautiful presentations this morning. And if you have not yet clicked the subscribe button here on the Buddhist Biohacker channel, please do. We are asking you to, please, because we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so that we can get our community page, so we can continue to create our community of light here at the Buddhist Biohacker. I also want to share that Buddhist Biohacker is now taking a stand against violence. Nonviolence is the greatest force at the disposal of mankind. It is mightier than the mightiest weapon of destruction devised by the ingenuity of man. That quote is by Mahatma Gandhi. And we are asking that everyone wears a gold ribbon like the one I have here to show your willingness to generate compassion and create unity through your daily actions. And I am so honored and so happy to invite one of our favorite guests that we love on Buddhist Biohacker, Satyam. Welcome back, Satyam.
Oh, thank you. Wonderful to be here, Lisa.
We just love you so much, and I'm glad you're here. And I'm going to let you take it away. So everybody enjoy Satyam's presentation, and I'll see you in a little while.
Okay, terrific. Okay, so welcome. Great to be here with everyone and to discuss a very, very important topic in this One Heart, One Earth Summit. This is my second summit that I'm participating in. I was involved in last month's summit as well. And in this summit, the theme, as Lisa discussed, was sustainability, sustainable future, sustainable living. And yoga has a lot to offer in this regard. And we're going to give a little bit of an overview. We'll go through some of the theory, and of course, we'll do some of the practice. A little bit about myself. Here, I'm situated at my house here on the Chesapeake Beach in Chesapeake Bay in Maryland, Southern Anne Arundel County. And I've been involved in yoga for the last 30 years, having studied and lived in India for a long time. And one of my main things in life is assimilating yogic practices into daily living. So certainly we all do the practice on the mat, or a lot of us enjoy that. But then what do we do when we're off the mat? And as sustainable as yogic life is on the mat, also there are many practices of yoga off the mat that really help us to live a vital and renewing and sustainable existence, both individually and cohesively with our greater surroundings. So that's what we're going to explore today. And we're going to start with a story. One time, Buddha was sitting, the great Gautam Siddhartha, the great Buddha, was sitting just in the town, and someone came up to him and started a furious attack of names and epithets and whatever he can think of. The man was completely angry and furious, and he just vented his whole dictionary of disparaging names towards Buddha. And Buddha just sat there quietly, taking it all in. And finally, the man had vented and gone on for so long that he just ran out of energy. And he was just standing before Buddha, who was completely tranquil, composed, in a state of ease. And he said, I've been yelling at you for so long, calling you all these names, and you're just sitting there. Didn't you get affected? Well, how can you sit like that? And Buddha said, what if someone gives you a present, or someone has a present, and they wish to give it to you, but you don't accept it? Then who's the owner of the present? And the man thought about that for a while, and then he thought, well, the person who wanted to give the gift, he had it, he wanted to give it to someone, and the person did not accept it, so then he's still the owner of that gift. And then Buddha looked at him and said, same is the case with all those epithets you've been hurling at me. You are the owner of those, not me. They have nothing to do with me. So you may ask, what does this story have to do with renewal? And one of the main abilities of human life and the things that we can do most impactful is that we have the ability to choose. We have the power of choice. And what choices we make have a tremendous effect on our ability to live a life of renewal, of sustainability, of sentientness, and stay away from all those things that are unrenewable, depravity, degradation. So this power of choice is a key point in our yogic way of life. So yoga and sustainability, where does it start? And it starts with the idea that yoga is based on nature. And nature itself is the most sustaining force in this cosmos. Or let me say, the seasons go round year after year, winter, spring, summer, fall, and it's completely renewing. And all the aspects of nature is about renewal, sustainability. Before human beings start to poke our nose in our private business into this, nature was just spinning on and on in a wonderful cycle of sustainability. We've impacted that. But so the yoga practices are based on naturally occurring phenomena. When we do a yoga pose of standing tall, then we're emulating the mountains. And when we're practicing our breath or doing a back bend, the back bends emulate different animals. So a lot of the yogic practice, or we can say all the yogic practices, are based on existing phenomena in nature, which are part of nature's wonderful portrayal and puzzle of perfect sustainability. So the yogis just hopped in on that road, right? Just hovering in the wake of nature, and that's self-propelling movement in that way. So we'll go a little bit more about sustainability in the yogic lifestyle, and then we'll start practicing it. Because after all, if we just do theory, that isn't going to cut it. They say yoga is, although there's lots of theories in yoga, but 1% theory in life and 99% practice. So it needs to practice, and we're going to get into that. But one of the most unique things about us as human beings is that we're also living in a very sustainable and renewable capsule, or our bodies, and for that matter, ultimately our minds as well. Every 21 days, the life of a cell is 21 days. So theoretically, every 21 days, we can completely change our cellular composition. And how that we choose affects what type of cells we create, depraving cells or sentient cells. The cells are determined on 5 factors: the sunshine, the air, the water, food, and our thoughts. We get energy from all those things, and that affects our cellular structure. And then the yogic practices, which we're going to get into in just a moment, things like yoga postures. The yoga postures are based on the glands, and they renew the human experience. Instead of being stiff, we become vital, flexible, dynamic. And then the yogic diet, a plant-based diet, very renewing for the human being. You're taking in live food, and it generates sentient cells. The practice of fasting. There's lots of different ways to do fasting, but fasting allows for the body to do its housekeeping. Instead of perpetually eating food and keep putting more and more food into the stomach, we can give that system a hiatus, and that allows the cells to do the housekeeping. This is being researched now in the West, and they call it housekeeping in the scientific journals, that to weed out and to recreate, just kind of like how if you have a bad hard drive and you clean up, you do your housekeeping on the hard drive, it cleans up all the sectors. Same with our human body during the fast. And then meditation, where by meditation, we're recreating our psychic structure in a more sustainable, renewable, sentient manner. And so yoga has a whole bunch of tools right at our disposal. You don't have to go to the store. You don't hardly have to do anything. It's just a matter of how you conduct yourself in your daily life to make your microexistence more sustainable. And what is sustainable for us on the micro level turns to be sustainable for our environment and our peoples and our communities on the greater macro level. So the two go hand in hand. They work in unison, in parallel form, complementary to one another. So it's a very neat system. And now we're going to start to explore a little bit about what we can do on a day-to-day basis, minute-to-minute basis, second-to-second basis to help renew ourselves. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to explore the breath. We breathe between 18,000 and 21,000 times a day. And the more cognizant we are of our breath, the more control and awareness we have on our being. A lot of times we just breathe in a hasty fashion, like if we're stressed out and we look, and that burns us, that drains us of our energy. A slow yogic breath sustains us. The yogis say that we are born with each and every inhale and that we die with each and every exhalation. And then again, we renew ourselves on the next inhale. And it's only those times that we don't get that next inhale that the life does come to an end. But till that time, 20,000 times a day, 7 days a week, approximately 30 days a month, 365 days a year, and for as many years and decades as we're on this planet, we are perpetually renewing ourselves, giving ourselves vital energy and life through our breath. So let's get into some of the practice. Let's do a little breathing here and explore how our breath can be renewing and sustaining for us. So come into any seated position and then close the eyes. Just by closing the eyes, it gives us a little bit of space, a little bit of distance from that external physicality, a little bit of relief. The organ for the breath, according to the yogis, is the nose. The nose is for breathing and smelling, and the mouth is for chewing and chatting. So we're going to take all our breaths in and out through the nasal passages. But what are we going to do with that breath once it goes in? We're going to draw it all the way down into the low belly. And on the inhalation, the navel point goes out and the belly expands. And on the exhalation, the navel point comes into the spine and propels the breath out, the air out. So as we sit here quietly, draw the breath inside, inhalation. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And then you can open your eyes here. So a lot of people think breathing, the body does that automatically. But there's a lot of dynamics to the breath. When we breathe more slowly, just in a simple two-step breathing pattern, it calms the mind. It slows down all the major processes of the body. The heart rate, the blood pressure, everything goes into a more calm state. And that's renewing. We can't run at 1,000 miles an hour and just burn rubber all day. It's not good for our daily health, and it'll ultimately lead to a premature death. By slowing down the breath, we gain tremendous control and facility and awareness about ourselves. But even then, it's not just a two-step breathing pattern. It's just not just a matter of inhale and exhale. There are moments and realizations to be explored and to be achieved and to be realized in each and every breath. So as we come back into it, we're going to explore the three-step breathing pattern. Inhale, take the breath inside. And then retain the breath, a stance known as kumbhak in Sanskrit. Retain the breath. And then exhale out. So the inhalation comes back in, known as purak in Sanskrit. Retention of breath, known as kumbhak. And exhalation, known as rechak. So those are 3 steps. Let's go through 2 rounds by ourselves. You do it at your own pace. And open the eyes. By this little short practicum, just by 3 breaths of 3-step breathing, we can change and recreate our mental structure and our physical structure. And that has an effect on the vibration of mind. Just by breathing quietly, slowly, one should feel a distinct shift in the mind. A palpable physical shift. Because the breath is the linking point between the mental body and the physical body. And by quieting the breath, the mind changes vibration. And then that vibration mind therefore emanates and affects every layer of our physical existence. So it's just that simple process of breathing has a tremendously powerful, impactful engagement on the body, on our existence. Now we're going to start to move into some physical postures so we can all practice together here in a more physical, getting the whole body involved. And I'm going to ask you to come up with a mantra or a word or a phrase that you use for your practice today. Mantra in Sanskrit is just a word that we repeat, not just a word. It's a very important word that we repeat inside the mind, and we coordinate with the breath. And why is this important? We all know grandma's slogan, "You are what you eat." Well, the yogis take it one step further. They say, as you think, so you become. So if we think something, we become the embodiment of that idea. And that's why mantra is so important, because every mantra is based on an idea. So you can think throughout the practice, and I'll remind you to use your mantra during the inhalation and the exhalation. Now's the time for you to consider. Maybe you have a personal mantra already, or a mantra that you've learned somewhere. Or maybe you just want to think that I am peace, or I am joy, or I am eternal happiness. And if you can't come up with one, there's a universal mantra that can be used known as Om Shanti. That means, may eternal peace prevail. That's Om Shanti. And one more thing about mantra. It's not so much the oral expression of it that makes it so meaningful. Rather, most of the time, mantra is repeated silently. It's embracing the idea of the mantra and then repeating it silently in the mind. And that has a big effect on our persona. So close the eyes and just take a moment to come up with the mantra that you would like to use for the day. And just to repeat that 5, 10, 15 times in the mind. And you can figure out a way to intuitively incorporate that with the breath. Okay, let's draw those palms together, thumbs to the Trikuti point, getting that mantra nicely set in the mind, drawing it down, hands down to the heart. So just becoming one with that mantra, one with that ideal. And relax, release. Keep that in mind, that mantra, keep it alive. And we're going to go through our yoga practice now, physical postures. And with each and every inhalation and exhalation, you can recite that word in the mind. Okay, let's go.
Battery 60%. Connected to Renewal Line Touch.
Okay, so I'm just going to move myself back a bit. Take off my eyes. Good. So let's get the legs out across the earth. And yoga is very renewing, the physical aspect, and it works off a very simple theory, the theory of opposites. And we're going to explore that here. Let's just come on forward and stretch out towards those toes. So we're just hinging through the hips, we're breathing comfortably. And if you don't touch the toes, that's okay. Maybe you're at the shins or the thighs or knees. You're just rotating forward. And then gently walk on back up, crossing those legs. And we're just going to do a seated back bend here. So we're seated here. We have the hands behind the back. And inhale. And open up. And exhale upright. Good. So let's get the legs out again. So we're just working. First, we're getting into a state of flexion of the spine. So this is one direction. Here we go forward. Press the backs of the legs in. Breathe easy. This is calming for the mind. It's also rejuvenating for the back and spine. And then gently inhale back on up. And then cross the legs, and we'll do a little back bend here. Again, just a simple back bend, hands back behind. And inhale, open up, just get the heart towards the sky. And exhale upright. So that's a quick demo of our theory of opposites. By bending forward and then bending back, we create a nice straight spine, and we keep that nice dynamic range of motion. Let's apply it a little bit further. Hands at the heart. And out. So we'll get into some side bends. Nice seated side bends. Take it over to your left side. Right arm up. And inhale back tall and down. Bring it the other way. Inhale up. Good. While you're here, don't forget that mantra. Let that mantra reside in your mind. And upright. So there we go. We got forward bend, back bend, side bend, side bend. And then another key component, hands to the heart. And extend the arms up at a slight angle, eyes to the fingertips. Take a deep inhalation. Right hand to the outside of the left knee, look over the back shoulder, and spine twist. While you're in the twist, you continue to breathe. Inhale up out of it, eyes up to the fingertips. And take it the other way. And inhale up, eyes up to the fingertips, and draw those hands to heart center and relax. A lot of people think, how can I create a yoga home practice? How can I do that? And if you remember that theory of opposites, you'll be in good shape. For every forward fold, do a back bend. For every side bend, do a side bend on the other side. And for every twist, go one side, then the other. And those three staples are the cornerstone of a physical practice. The fourth aspect would be some type of inversion, and we're going to explore that as well. But let's move on, knowing that we're using this theory of opposites, and that almost everything we'll do will be either a forward fold, a back bend, a side bend, or a twist to one side or the other. Let's get into table position. So 90 degrees around, and here we go. Come into cat pose, exhale, round out. So here's our forward fold, right? And this is totally renewing and sustaining for the spine. And then gently dropping that navel down. Inhale, eyes and chin up. And we're emulating nature. This is a cow. So the yogis just copied that wonderful force of nature, which is forever sustaining, and exhale, round out. And you drop that belly down. Inhale, eyes and chin up. And flat back, steady space. and come back into child's pose. That's right. Find the state of pause, the state of renewal. Inhale your way on up into table. Good. Let's go a little bit deeper with the back bend. Extend the arms out in front. Keep the hips above the knees and drop the forehead down. Taking those hands back into table. And let's get a good rise into downward dog. See how this works for you. Curl those toes. Come on up into your downward facing dog. So full body engagement. And come up onto the ball of feet. Get those heels up high, tailbone up and back. And you release those heels down into the earth. Take it down to table and big toes together, knees out wide V, wide ankle child's pose. Inhale on up to table. Let's take that left foot forward between the two hands. Sliding the right knee back. So you have that left knee over the ankle. Okay, everybody got that mantra going, that idea imbibing in the mind? Inhale, come on up. So it's a warrior, low lunge, opening up through the heart. Angle forward a bit and draw those arms back, arms flat out away from the hips. And we'll take that right palm down, loop that left hand around the back. So you just get a little bit of a twist. Continue to breathe. And we're going to take this twist up a level, curl the back toes, lift that knee up, and revolve up with it. Coming on down, and we'll work into a mini pyramid pose. Fold over, get that thigh going. Let that hamstring stretch out. Good. Nice, slow, steady movements. Getting the physical body and mental body working hand in hand. Come on forward, take it back into table. And let's just get that process going on the other side. So when you're ready, lead with the opposite foot, bring that right foot forward between, and slide the left knee back. So you got your front knee over the ankle, and inhale up into that low lunge, and find your way. Breathing comfortably. Inhale, vision up to the sky. And exhale, 45 degrees, big reach out. Letting those arms go back, arms out away from your hips. Palms down, fingers away. And here's that little twist. Palm down, hand behind, and just revolve up a bit. Calm and steady. Curling the back toes, lift up to that knee and thigh, arm up. Find that space. All twists have a revitalizing effect on our nervous system. Landing out of it, and then just coming into that mini pyramid pose again. Fold over, just like we did on the other side. And ease out of it. Remember that downward dog that we did earlier? Let's come back into it. Nice high stance. Maybe the body's a little bit more free, a little bit more limber. Giving yourself just some time to engage. And walking those hands back and back and back. Coming into a standing fold. Fold over the thighs. Bending the knees, resting the belly on the thighs, relax your head and shoulders. And lengthening through the legs. And then again, bend those knees, rest over the thighs, relax the head and shoulders. Then you pull the navel in, one vertebra at a time. Come on, up. Good, well we just did a forward fold, so let's go ahead, let's get that back bend in. Hands behind the back, fingers towards the spine. Inhale, open up. And exhale, upright. Good, so we made it to standing. And as you can see, we're just going through a series of postures where we work one side then the other, forward and back, side to side, twist to twist. And by that way, we revitalize our physical body and our mental body. And we're keeping that sweet idea of that mantra residing inside the mind. In fact, let's go ahead, let's get into a standing meditation. Lift the 10 toes and let them spread into the mat. Draw the arms out away from the hips, bring the chin back towards you, close the eyes. Work into that renewing breath. And get into your mantra japa, or your repetition of the mantra in the mind, of that ideal you aspire towards. And on the inhale, draw those palms together, heart center. Ankles and knees into center and arms on up. Making your body like a perfect spire, chin back towards you. And beautiful side bend over to the left. Bend starts at the navel and goes out through the crown. And inhale upright. And over to the other side. And inhale upright. Feet are hip width, interlink the fingers, push the palms up, pull the navel in, making yourself completely long and lengthened. And releasing those hands around, rolling those shoulders up and around, one direction and the other direction. Good. And ultimately those shoulders rest nice and low. Good. Floating those arms out in front, palms down, fingers extended. Getting up onto the ball of the feet, heels up off the mat. And heels down, hands by the sides, steady. Bringing those ankles and knees into center. Swing the arms up, eyes to the fingertips. Good. Big inhale, and on the exhale, lengthen and flatten. So come into a lengthened legs and flatten back, Nice lateral swan dive, get your place. Continue to breathe here, squeeze to the core. And lifting up through the crown. And here we go, let's go back. Inhale, open it up. And exhale, upright. Good. Take it around. Let's work into little tree and then regular tree. Right, here we go, emulating nature, right? Trees make it from year to year and they last so long on this earth. So bring 1 foot behind the calf and just be tall. Right, we can all do this, right? And you just work on your posture, you engage the core, you get your vision fixed at one spot, and you be mindful not to let the toes should not grip into the earth. The toes should be free, relaxed, let them spread. Okay. And down. Let's go with the other side. Bring that foot behind, open out. Tall space. Good, so you get your vision. Everything's set. And come around and undo. How about coming up a little higher? Maybe on the inside of the calf, or maybe all the way up. Can we get all the way up to the inside of the thigh? And tall, and open up, being broad and free. Maybe getting the arms straight up to the sky. And undo. Good. And we'll go on the other side. Get that foot, spread into the mat, and bring your leg up. Find your height. Use those arms. Maybe the arms are level start. Maybe they come up to that counterbalance. So you find your way and just continue to grow. You want to rise up. You want to tower, not cower. So we're just rising, we're getting that space strong. And then all these postures help revitalize ourselves physically, psychically, emotionally, all different ways. Just gonna pull my mat back. We're gonna get into a warrior pose here. So let's take it out to a nice wide stance, huh? And let's turn this foot, choose a foot, depending how you're set up on your mat. Draw the hands to heart center, extend the arms out, vision over to that side, and release into Virabhadrasana 2. Vir in Sanskrit means courage. This is warrior 2. And Virabhadrasana means the pose of a warrior with great courage and focusing in at one spot. Overcoming all obstacles. Down and back. One of the things is, if we do nothing in this life, then we move towards depravity. If we wake up in the morning, we're stiff. And psychically, if we don't engage the mind, we become dull. And let's get into side bend. So we need to be in a state of perpetual renewal. It means engagement. And yoga provides that. It provides that through a series of practices like meditation, like these physical postures. And if done regularly, then they create good physical habits for the body and mind. Inhale, come up. So even when we're not doing our yoga practice per se, we're mindful of it, and it'll be help us be more effective and successful in our other endeavors that invariably we have to do. Good. Let's get set up on the other side. Hands to heart center, extend out. Come on into the warrior 2 on this side. You got your space, right? Got your courage. And reverse back, big, deep space back. Keep that front knee over the ankle. And 45 degrees over into our extended side angle. So yoga follows nature and also geometry. Here we're just creating a series of angles that are self-forming, self-sustainable. They manage, so you're emulating shapes, you're emulating animals, all naturally occurring phenomena. And come on up out of it. Good. Toes around. How about just a simple twist here? Float the arms out to a T. Take a deep inhalation. Exhale, twist it to one side. Just helicopter there. Keep the feet planted. And inhale, coming around. Take a deep inhalation and twist the other way. And inhale back around, dropping, good. Take the right hand behind the back, left arm over top. Take that left ear to the left shoulder. And undo, crown up, right ear right, up above and hand back behind. Good, and undo, crown up, step on up, and let's roll on down. Take it on down, we're gonna make our journey back onto the mat. Find your way into your downward facing dog. Coming up onto the ball of the feet. If you'd like to bring one leg up to the sky and heel to the opposite glute, you're welcome to. Go down, the opposite leg up. And down. And take it into table and child's pose. Good, so we just back into the mat here. And come on up. And we're going to try a little bit of core balance to see if we can sustain ourselves in that way. Because the core is so important. That's like our center, right? It's called core for a reason. And we're just going to try and catch these toes and come out to this position. So I'm going to give you a side view here. So you want to keep the spine engaged. So you're almost upright through the spine. You're not rounded out and being all cushy and cozy. You're up, you're engaged, navel to the spine. The knees can be bent, that's okay. Some of you may be able to get the legs all the way out, that's also fine. But it's navel to spine, it's balance, it's keeping ourselves well situated. Good. Undo. Let those legs go out. Hands on either sides of the hips. Float the arms and come on forward. And gently walk it on up. Now we're going to go into some supine poses, and then we'll go into a little meditation as well. But here the idea of our practice today was to show you why yoga, the yogic lifestyle, with the breathing, with the physical postures, with our meditation, why it's so dynamic and leads to help a sustainable life, and that it's easy to do. It's not that difficult. Right? 3 breaths and you calm the mind. A forward fold, the back bend, you start to make the body a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more limber. So it shouldn't be some like mysterious process. It should be something very approachable, very accessible that everyone can do. And then there's the daily living, like moving towards a plant-based diet, like choosing those life activities that are self-propelling, and maybe trying intermittent fasting, right? There's a lot of information out there. And these are terms for you to know, to learn, to familiarize yourself with, to explore. Because remember, if we're not moving towards a more dynamic life, we're moving towards a more static life. Staticity is not renewing. It's not sustainable. Dynamicity is. And the more dynamic the life is, it gains momentum in that way, and it becomes easier and easier to follow all these wonderful dynamic practices that come under the umbrella of yoga. Let's lie back into the earth. Lie back. And we talked about inversion. A simple inversion is this. Watch this. Look how easy this is to do. Bring the knees over the belly, push the legs up. Now the legs are inverted. Bend the knees, let the feet come down. Press, raise the hips up. Now the torso is inverted. We're letting the organs float the other direction. They're getting untwisted, untied, untethered. And then they come back down. And then we do another inversion. Knees over the navel, push the legs up. Bending those knees, feet down. Press, raise the hips. And then lower down. And knees over the navel, circle those knees, relax the low back. And then we'll move in towards Shavasana. Just maybe 1 minute or so of deep relaxation. Yoga uses a series of poses to come into a state of pause, to assimilate the benefits of the practice, to further calm the mind. We did it in child's pose. We did it in that standing meditation. And now we're going to do it in Shavasana, or corpse posture, in the supine pose. Just lie back. Remember your mantra, remember that ideation. Let that imbibe in the mind while you lie back into the earth. Four more perfect breaths. Then they move the fingers and toes. Rotate the palms down into the earth. Bending those knees, soles of the feet into the mat. One arm up high and back overhead. And then whatever arm you extended, take that as a point of rotation. Just get yourself into a lateral position. And you rest. You take it slowly. You let the body renew. And inhale and push on up. And let's come on up into a seated position. Any seated position that works for you. It doesn't have to be simple cross-legged, or if you sit in another way, that's also fine. Draw the hands into the lap. And close the eyes. And we bask in the sweetness of that respiration. Slowly, wholesomely, consciously, methodically. Let's go right into a 3-step breathing pattern. Inhale, taking the breath inside. Retain that breath. Repeat your mantra. And exhale. How about 5, 6 long, slow, 3-step breathing patterns? The mind becomes perfectly calm, steady, vibrant. The meditative mind, the meditative state is the most renewing, sustainable way of human life. In tune with the greater cosmic flow, in tune with our natural needs to find a shelter, a sense of peace, a sense of purpose. One last perfect breath done in unison. And we draw those palms together, thumbs touching to the Trikuti point, midpoint between the eyebrows, honoring that whole wonderful arena of mind that gives us direction, purpose, brilliance, and insight as to how to proceed in this world. And draw the hands down into heart center, making that link within. Internally we say Namaskar. I do have a story to share with you to close out here. But I hope in this session we've been able to achieve a few things of making yoga maybe more accessible. Or maybe if you're already familiar with yoga, maybe you learned a few theories or a few little nuggets of information that'll help you strive further on in your practice. I can always be reached at Renaissance Yoga, renyoga.com, renyoga.com. And I've got classes 5, 6, 7 days a week online that you're welcome to participate in. But so our aim was a little bit of sustainability, and through our breath, through our practice, hopefully we achieved to gain a little further advancement in that today. So I said story, and let's go on with the story. And interestingly enough, you may have heard Lisa last night at the opening circle talk about forgiveness. And how important that is. And I had already picked my story out. And I thought, well, Lisa picked forgiveness. Maybe I shouldn't tell that story. But then I thought, no, it's the perfect opportunity to tell it. So I'm going to give, here goes the story, and you'll see how it goes. One time, long, long ago, about 3,500 years ago on this earth, there was a great yogi by the name of Sri Krishna. And there were great battles on the earth during that time, but everyone appreciated and recognized Krishna as being a truly great entity on this earth. And everybody had regard for Krishna. And by this time, Krishna had grown a little old. He'd become an octogenarian, 80 years. And he was just walking around and he saw a lovely spot in the forest. And he decided to sit in the forest in Lalit Mudra, something kind of like this, right? Just kind of lying back. You've probably done this on the beach or so. And he was sitting like this with his foot up. And he was just enjoying the day, contemplating his life, the world, the universe. And so he sat. At the same time, one hunter entered the forest. And that hunter had his bow and arrow. And he was moving through the forest looking for his prey. And he looked, and he was after a deer. And he looked through and through and through, and he said, there it is, I see my mark. And the hunter took his bow, and he dipped it in just a touch of poison because he didn't want his prey to run. So he took aim, he was sure of himself, and he looked and he saw a little space through all the leaves by which to hit his target. He pulled back and set off that arrow, and it whizzed through the air, and he saw it hit its mark. And the hunter went through the forest, pushing through the leaves, following the track of that arrow. And he pulled the last leaves apart, and much to his surprise and shock, he didn't hit what he thought. He thought he was hitting the backside of a deer. Instead, what he hit was the underside of Krishna's foot, the reddish brown foot that looks so similar to a deer. The hunter was horrified. Already the poison had started to take effect, and Krishna was starting to turn blue in the face. And the hunter looked at Krishna and said, you are the most revered entity on this earth. What have I done to deserve such a fate, to be the person who shot a poisonous arrow into your foot and spread poison, thereby creating a toxic effect and leading to your demise on this earth? And Krishna took note of the hunter's sorrow, and that he could see the hunter had no desire to hurt him in any way. And Krishna said, I forgive you. Not only do I forgive you, but I thank you. And Krishna said, we have to remember that human beings make mistakes. That happens in human life. Unintentional, unintended things done that create consequences that we did not wish for. He said, your shooting me was unintentional, was a mistake, and I give you full pardon. And not only that, I thank you because I've completed my work on this earth. And I came out to this forest today wondering how I will leave this earth. and you've given me the perfect answer. And with that, Krishna took one more breath and expired on this physical body and passed. So forgiveness is a powerful tool. It empowers those who've made mistakes, and it's something that it helps the person who also offers that sense of forgiveness. The only thing the yogis warn about is that not to forgive until the person who did the thing either feels sorry for it or rectifies the action. Beyond that, in individual life, we're free to forgive, so long as we feel that person was repentant or sorry for what harm they may have caused. And that expands by granting forgiveness, then our own mind become more expansive. So this whole thing of forgiveness is so important for sustainable. We can't walk around angry. We can't walk around mean at others. We must figure out a way to live. And with all these other people on the planet, forgiveness is an important tool for our own sustainability, our own welfare, and for everyone else as well. Again, my name is Satyam with Renaissance Yoga. It was so wonderful to be part of yet another wonderfully organized seminar and summit by Lisa, and it's great to be part with the Yoho community. Thanks so much for participating today. Namaskar.